睛，你会怎么做？他倒是告诉我，我怕听不见。以前记得火把是你式的魔法，慢慢的渗入我的心逐渐。你举起千斤更难逃脱，抬头看天空，暗潮在飘落。可以是歌手，是作家，写诗在行诗，当然那些爱情小说。雪花让我伴着你左右，爱情在燃烧，看着你火候。你最爱看太阳落下，我明天。
Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today I want to talk a little bit about space exploration. I've always been a space nerd. I grew up in science fiction and read Heinlein, and I post a lot of the stories by Asimov and Heinlein and Ray Bradbury on Metallic Man. And as you can tell, I'm kind of a nerd about this kind of stuff. And because of that and the Apollo space program, I was inspired to become an aerospace engineer and join the Navy to fly. But you know, that's not exactly what happened. So here, what I want to do is talk about some of the realities that I've been musing about. Now, the first reality is a very simple reality. I always believed that the Apollo program actually happened. And then when the Hubble Space Telescope was trained on the Apollo landing sites, it showed them exactly as they were, pristine after 50-some years of sitting there. And of course I believed it all. But I'm an engineer, and I know that you just don't develop something and then don't do anything with it. It's like saying the person who invented the ballpoint pen thought it was a great thing and they wrote with it and then they threw it away and everybody went back to quills. It's like saying somebody had invented the automobile, the gas engine automobile, rode around on it for a little bit, thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, and then went back to horses. It's like somebody saying they developed the electronic calculator, used it for a little bit, and said, okay, let's go back to the slide rule. You see, the point that I'm trying to make here is technology is accumulative. It's cumulative. You do one thing, and then the next one builds upon it, and then the next one builds upon that, and the next one builds upon that. But NASA is saying that's not what happened. NASA is saying that once they develop this enormous rocket engines, this enormous capability to put man on another planet, the infrastructure for all that, as well as the infrastructure for the environmental controls, the navigation controls, the new technologies required for materials and everything, that it all, when the program died, all that died with it. Now, as an aerospace aficionado, I happen to know that for the longest time, development did continue for heavy lift boosters and stuff. For instance, the Ronald Reagan's MX program. So they developed all kinds of stuff, but it seemed to me that the technologies were duplicating. They're duplicating stuff that was supposedly have been done for Apollo. So these kinds of things, there's this problem, this disconnect. How can you have a large, expensive development program accomplish a goal, and then all the things that were supposedly developed for it go into a black hole, and now people have to reinvent them? And that's what's going on with Artemis, which is the NASA's follow-on for Apollo. It's Artemis, and if you watch the videos and everything, Artemis has to reinvent the wheel. So many things are listed in Artemis that need new technologies that we don't have, but supposedly we had them in 1969 or 1966, culminating in 1969. So we had these technologies in 1966. Where are they now? Where are those technologies now? No answers, because the people who are running these programs are not scientists. They're not engineers. They're just political donor class. Another discussion for another time. But with this in mind, forget about all that. You can go on the internet and you will see some things like frost trails on Chinese landers and Indian landers. You will see that when the landing craft go on the lunar terrain, it disturbs the upper crust of the sand and the dirt, exposing a dark underlayer. None of that is possible. None of that is in the Apollo programs. The Apollo program dust is all the same color no matter how you disturb it. And there's other things like that. I'm not going to get into all this. This is not going to be talking about Apollo. But that's adds other things, other factors that make me really question the validity and the veracity of what actually happened with Apollo. But now I'm going to talk about my experiences. I don't know what's on the news media and all that. My personal opinion is it's all garbage. I think it's all garbage. It's all baloney. But I like to believe that back then in my boyhood that it wasn't. But maybe it was for all the longest time. Maybe it was. So, what about my experiences firsthand? Well, when I entered Majestic, there was amazing technology. Absolutely, fundamentally amazing. And then when I, like the teleporter, and then when I went for my training, this was reiterated. But when I was on the bases, these high-tech bases with doing the cutting-edge scientific studies and developing of weapon systems and space systems and aerospace systems, I was there at my dream job doing things that I always wanted to happen. And you want to know what my impression was? It was low tech. It was not what Hollywood makes it look like. Not in the least. And that in itself is disturbing. Very, very, very disturbing. Oh, I have no doubt that Voyager the Voyager probe went out and explored the solar system. I have no doubt that the Mars lander occurred. Even the moon lander. I don't have any doubt on that stuff. These things I don't doubt. I think they all actually happened. What I'm doubting is biological. That a human actually walked on the moon. For whatever it's worth, when I was in the teleporter and I ended up in wherever the hell I ended up and the gravity was different, I knew I wasn't on the Earth, but I really didn't know where I was. Nobody told me jack shit. The light was all red, but that's because the benefactors was more comfortable in that light, so it was sort of a best fit scenario for our eyes and their eyes, but didn't mean that I was on Mars. Hell, I could have been on some planet around Alpha Centauri for all I knew. I could have been anywhere. I just didn't know. I could have been in another universe that was resting beside our universe. Just don't know. We all don't know these things. But what that tells me is that the extreme compartmentalization of majestic was of such nature that the technological breakthroughs of NASA wasn't going into majestic. I didn't see any of that evidence. Instead, what I saw was majestic was off doing its stuff, and NASA was doing its stuff, and NASA stuff seemed to be a political tool. Majestic was doing majestic stuff, and NASA was doing NASA stuff, and I didn't see any interaction. And that should tell you something. And that should make you sit up and take note and wonder why. I don't have an answer. Personally, I don't have an answer. I don't know why. But it seems to me that all of us are being deceived on the true nature of man and the true nature of our existence. And let's keep it at that. Don't get too excited about Artemis. I don't think it's ever going to land on the moon. And as far as majestic, there's all kinds of stuff going on. People talking about domain and everything. The only thing you can actually get a handle on is your own personal experiences, guys. Your own personal experiences. That's all you can do. Your own personal experiences. So let's just kind of focus on our own personal experiences and do that, find realization and understanding through our own internal channels rather than seek them through external means, because external means seem to be highly corrupted right now. And with that being said, I want to summarize right now really quick. I have really strong doubts about the technical ability of anyone in the United States to do anything at this stage of the game. I strongly suspect that we have been lied to for many, many years, perhaps decades for certain, probably maybe even centuries. And the only thing we really know about is our own personal eyes and ears and our own personal experiences. Let's focus on that. And that's why I emphasize affirmation campaigns so vividly in my discourses. And with that, people, please do the best you can. Be kind to dogs and cats. And remember, I believe in you. Bye-bye.
The youth them tired living on the red line. The money no excuse to rob the blind.